I'm just going to announce this, and then I'm going to take us off for a minute. Hey, everyone. Richard Taylor here from Final Cut Pro Radio TV Live. Today, we're going to be talking with a new noise reduction plugin for Final Cut Pro, Logic, and Pro Tools, and all kinds of stuff with Alex from Accusonus.com. We'll be right back in a few minutes.
Noise happens, but you don't have to settle. Use the Era Noise Remover to easily reduce or completely remove unwanted background noise, such as computer fans, air conditioners, electric hum and hiss, or other artifacts. Instantly improve the quality of your audio with a single knob.
Put the mushrooms, onion, garlic, oregano, mint, bay, and cinnamon in a large heavy base frying pan and cook over medium heat for 10 minutes. Put the mushrooms, onion, garlic, oregano, mint, bay, and cinnamon in a large heavy base frying pan and cook over medium heat for 10 minutes.
When you want to fine-tune your results, use Era Noise Remover's additional controls, such as the new Hum Buzz feature. Learn more and get the fully functional trial at Accusonus.com. Reverb is the unavoidable result of room acoustics. It can make your recording sound distant, echoey, or hollow. With the Era 4 Reverb Remover, you can quickly reduce excessive reverb and bring your sound into focus using a single knob.
If the UN forecasts for population growth are correct, then the center of gravity of the world market will shift from the Atlantic to the Indian Ocean over the next 20 years. If the UN forecasts for population growth are correct, then the center of gravity of the world market will shift from the Atlantic to the Indian Ocean over the next 20 years.
When you are looking for in-depth reverb suppression, use the plugin's additional controls. Add clarity, clean up your dialogue, and tighten up your musical performance in seconds using Era Reverb Remover. Learn more and get the fully functional trial at Accusonus.com. Do you have to deal with uneven audio levels in your video or audio recordings? Was the speaker moving around and the voice is too loud in one part and too quiet in another? Use the Era Voice Leveler to smooth out gain differences in seconds with the turn of a single dial.
Fit for yes or fit for no? Thou, whatever light may shine, no man on your face shall see any grief for change on mine. Fit for yes or fit for no? Thou, whatever light may shine, no man on your face shall see any grief for change on mine.
Simply make your voice recordings cut through background music and effects. Improve the quality and intelligibility of your voice tracks. For detailed control of your voice levels, check out Era Voice Leveler's processing modes and engage the D-Breath module. Learn more and get the fully functional trial at Accusonus.com.
All right, we are back. So there's a new, I know I've been using audio noise reduction plugins for Final Cut Pro for years, and I was surprised because I never heard of Accusonus. Is this a new package you guys are bringing out?
So first of all, thanks for inviting us in the show.
Absolutely.
The company exists since 2014. We are actually one of the first companies that ever released the machine learning software in the music software industry.
Okay.
Done different things over the years. We've started with software for drum mixing, which still exists, and it's actually used by a lot of rock and heavy metal bands.
Right.
Then we have some software that uses AI in order to enable new beat-making workflows. So it's people who are working with music beats and are making beats. But the last couple of years, we are focusing in audio repair. And our goal is to create a collection of audio repair tools that allow people to do their work fast and very easily. So it's, I think that we released the first audio repair plugins 1.5 years ago. It's our fastest growing product line. So this is probably why you've never heard of us before.
So the audio repair section, ERA, is that what it's called?
Yes.
Okay.
The idea was that it means enhancement and repair of audio.
Okay, very good. So that's what I'm surprised. I haven't heard of that particular section. I come from an audio background. I have a recording studio, and I use other plugins and things. And when it comes to Final Cut Pro, audio plugins are not as optimal as they are in digital audio workstations like Logic. From what I understand, it's because Final Cut Pro doesn't cache the audio plugins like the other DAWs do. But I've been using your plugin, especially the Leveler plugin. I really like that. One of the things I really like is I love the idea. You have a little live waveform scrolling across the bottom, and it shows you the input level and it shows you the output level overlaid on top of each other.
Yeah. So we wanted to give some visual feedback to the user with this particular plugin, because actually the plugin works all the time in the background.
Okay.
It doesn't do any when you open it, and it actually detects regions of the signal where the level is low and tries to balance out these uneven audio levels in order for, mainly we're targeting voice, and the idea is that if you have a voiceover and you want to make it stand out against the audio effects and music, you can easily do it and with Voice Leveler, and it can save you a lot of time from manual editing, especially inside an NLE like Final Cut, where manual editing for audio is not optimal. I mean, unless you use an audio editor on the side, manual audio editing is not the simplest thing to do inside an NLE, especially if you want to be fast.
That's absolutely correct. So there's a lot of video editors that find the audio fine in Final Cut. I use Logic most of the time because my background is using Logic or Digital Performer or even Pro Tools, and they have more sophisticated tools for audio editing. But so these work. You buy the license, and they work in Logic. They'll work in Final Cut Pro, Premiere as well, right?
Of course, yeah. DaVinci Resolve. Basically, we support every major NLE that supports audio plugins, as well as all digital audio workstations.
That's fantastic, yeah.
Especially, we've done a lot of work to make the experience as seamless as possible, especially inside NLEs like Final Cut and Premiere, because there are so many people that want to explore the simplicity and the ease of use of these plugins that are mainly video editors and not audio experts.
Sure.
And we definitely want to create something that is very appealing and easy to use for those type of users.
So one of the descriptions that I've seen to describe your plugins is a one knob plugin, the single knob, to make it simple.
Yeah.
You just dial it up or you dial it back, which is I really like that when plugin manufacturers do that. Now, but that's not all you can do. There's other ways you can go into the plugin and expand the options that you have. Like for your noise plugin, I noticed that it has 4 bands or 5 bands you can get into, EQ bands.
Yeah, you can actually shape the estimation of the noise plugin based on 5 different buttons, which correspond to different focus that you want to give to different frequency bands. But the whole concept of the plugins is to give to people, full quality in seconds. So internally we say, can you give to the people 95% of the audio quality in less than 5 seconds? And this is what we're trying to do. The reason is that, video editors or people that generally work with audio but are not audio experts, are rather video experts or, even podcasters or,
Sure.
people that are
Sure.
audio experts. So they want to have professional sound quality in their productions, and this is what we're trying to give them with this type of plugin. And at the same time, and this was originally a big surprise for us, we see our plugins being extensively used by big studios because time matters. everyone now works under very pressing deadlines, and having the option to get a job done in seconds is something that even the biggest professionals appreciate. So it's at the end the same plugin that can be used, in I don't know, an indie production, video production, is used in some of the biggest Hollywood films, because we all need to save time and be creative.
Absolutely.
Take times to tuning different knobs and parameters that sometimes are even obscure.
No, absolutely. So does anybody in your organization, are they video editors? Is that why you started developing these for NLEs?
We do have, we do video editing internally, because, as you know, video is the most precious educational tool you have for your products.
Absolutely.
We weren't video editors ourselves, but we hired some people to do our own videos. Then we started talking about, with our friends that are into video production, about the problems these people face. And then we decided that as a vision, our company, we have, the vision to use complex technology in the background, but on the front to give people a user interface that it's very intuitive and allows them to do their work very fast. So it fits exactly on our vision and our mission. This product line fits exactly on our vision and mission as a company. And this is how we experiment ourselves, for our own videos with these plugins, and then we release it to people.
Right, exactly. That's what I was wondering, because video is everywhere now. I don't care what you do in life, everybody is using video. If it's not on YouTube, it's on Twitter, Periscope, on Facebook Live, everybody's using video now. So, and typically, video editors don't have an extensive background with audio. Okay, A lot of times they want good audio quickly and easily, and that's exactly what your plugins do. That's what I was wondering, if you had any video editors. Exactly.
Yeah, we test extensively our plugins for video editors. We put a lot of effort also to overcome some limitations that the NLEs naturally have when they process audio. So if we want to be a little bit more geeks about it, the word view of an NLE is with frames, while the word view of a digital audio workstation is time, continuous time.
Sure.
And this makes a big difference of how these different types of software see an audio plugin. So we have to adapt what we're doing in the background in order to be able to serve video editors the best way we can, actually.
Exactly. But like you said, they're also being used in studios, because I use Logic, and I'm using it in Logic.
Yeah. This is the most important thing. Audio repair, let's face it, it's not the most creative thing that you can do in the studio.
Right.
It's basically something that you want to get done and then be creative. Even if you're a video editor or an audio editor, a sound engineer, a musician, a podcaster, at the end of the day, you want to have a great sounding production without spending, like hours to fine tune obscure parameters of an audio repair plugin. So it makes a lot of sense to make these types of plugins. While, I don't know, I wouldn't imagine like a single knob, synthesizer that makes everything very, non-intuitive, because this is where people want to put their creativity in. But at the same time, audio repair is something that you want to do at first, get over with it, and then start being creative.
No, that's exactly correct. We especially video editors, we want a quick fix when it comes to audio. We want it quick, we want it easy, we want it to be effective. So there's a difference between what Final Cut Pro does with audio versus like Logic. I mean, Final Cut Pro doesn't pre-cache. If you put an effect on audio, it can't pre-cache. It has to play it back live. Did you have any issues when you developed the plugin for Final Cut with that part of it, the inability to cache live like Final Cut has?
Yeah, we we actually have worked a little bit also with the Final Cut team in order to be able to overcome this thing and make it as seamless as possible. We still have work to do, but at least now the experience is really, really good.
So you
It's
worked
some,
with, yeah, you worked with the Final Cut team with this then?
it's something, we have an open conversation, so we can actually serve, because we serve the same users. We want to be a good partner with them, so we get some insights on how to work with them. Also, we have developed an internal technology that basically works with every NLE and tries to understand the specific ways of how each NLE talks to the audio plugins. And then this is some internal work that cannot be, that is not at all interesting for the users, but from a technical perspective, it was very necessary to do. So we created this whole, imagine a plugin that actually spies how an NLE works with the plugins, and then we use this information in order to improve, to hack ourselves and
Sure.
make the experience seamless for the user.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was really excited when I saw these. I've used some other plugins with different degrees of success with Final Cut. Logic is not, like I said, it works better with these plugins. I mean, I've been using plugins forever with Logic, so Final Cut it's different the way it handles audio. Hopefully maybe that'll improve when Final Cut has a new version. Apple has pre-announced, which is unusual. They pre-announced a new version of Final Cut for the fall. They announced it at WWDC, and what we're expecting, of course, is Final Cut Pro 10.5.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what that's going to be? Yeah.
I don't have any internal information on this.
That's fine.
I hope that they will, they continue investing in the Pro software that they are doing, because it's great software, and I think it deserves a lot. And of course, professionals, media professionals were always supporting the company even in the past. So I guess it makes sense for them also to create the best products for them.
No, absolutely. What did you think about the Mac Pro announcement?
I think, I mean, I'm not, where internally we mostly test on iMacs and Mac Minis, and the reason is that we want to be sure that our plugins perform adequately for people that own a Mac Pro.
Sure.
I think that the Mac Pro, so to be honest with you, I'm really attached to Mac OS as an operating system. And I don't think I can easily live outside Mac OS right now.
Right, me neither.
Yeah. So, and that said, I think it's a good release for people who cannot who cannot live with a less expensive option with Windows. And I like that it's more upgradable than the previous one.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but internally, we don't have a Mac Pro because this is it. We are trying to test with low spec computers.
That makes complete sense. So I'm reading some things on your website. So when you buy a license for your plugins, the permit allows it to be used on up to 3 machines, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So if you have, like in my case, I have my iMac right here, and then I have my MacBook Pro out there, so I could use the same license on both. I don't have to buy a separate license.
Yeah. This is exactly why we've done it, because we know that most of our clients have 2 or even 3 computers for their work, and we want to give them the option to use their plugins everywhere.
Exactly. And then you have a special right now.
Yeah, we have the intro price. So it's we have the Era bundle, which actually has 6 plugins. We have a noise remover. We have a reverb. The noise remover removes everything from static, electrical noise, hiss, hum, or generally everything that can be on the background with a single note. We have the reverb remover, which is removes the effect of bad acoustics when we have a lot of echo or that makes your sound hollow. You can use the reverb remover to bring your sound on the front. We have the voice leveler that we discussed about already.
Right.
We have compressor that reduces harsh sibilance and corrects the problems that can be you can see when you don't have professional actors involved, or if someone speaks too close to the microphone. We have the plosive remover, which is again the same concept: loud plosive thumps like P and T and things that make the diaphragm of the microphone pop. So you can remove those in post now. And then we have a declipper that actually corrects the sound if it has been clipped, if it was too loud and the preamps of your device have clipped. So all these plugins can be bought individually for $59 or as a bundle for $149. But right now and until the end of July, we are at an intro price, so you can buy the full bundle of the 6 plugins for $119.
Which is fantastic. That's a great price. Now, here's the thing about audio repair. If your audio needs more repair than what these plugins offer, you're completely screwed, right? In other words, if somebody records audio that's so bad that these plugins can't help, I mean, you didn't do a very good job with your audio.
Bad audio happens no matter what you do, because it's not, especially if you do video. Because actually, the advantage that we have if we see the world, as audio people, is that we can be in our studio. Everything is controlled. It's an acoustically controlled environment.
Exactly. Yes.
As soon as you take the camera and you go out, anything can happen. That said, there are things that are these plugins can do a lot of things, but after a point, if you don't have something to work with, then you have to do ADR or you have to re-record. I mean, there's only so much you can do after a point.
Exactly.
My motto is that, basically, if you feel that you don't have enough input to give to the plugin, enough voice, then the plugin will not create a voice. I mean, you have to have the voice recorded.
Yes, that's absolutely true. But I always, when I teach sometimes Final Cut Pro classes, and the students would always hear the words that audio is at least 50% of good video. But they don't put that into practice a lot of times. They don't pay attention to the audio. They pay more attention to the video. I mean, even Final Cut Pro itself, the most of the resources in Final Cut Pro are dedicated to video.
Yeah, I think it's fair because, it's fair in a way that the first thing that the videographer will deal with is the video quality. The thing is that at the end, you don't want it to sound like a home video. You don't want to have like this huge production and then, the sound that reminds you the VCR, videos of the 80s or something.
Sure.
So I believe that more and more people get to understand that. And when we talk to our users, we understand that people now care about sound, or at least, after the first point, it's first video, and then after, the first point, they reach a level of maturity in their productions that they understand that audio is equally important. And I've stopped a lot of YouTube videos just because the audio was so bad that I couldn't stand, although what they were saying was important. So everyone has done that, and I feel the producers now understand it.
Yes, as they should. I mean, that's...
Yeah.
Yeah, I come from an audio background, so I've always been paying attention to audio. But let's go over, so we talked about the leveler, which I use all the time. As a matter of fact, I have a podcast, Final Cut Pro Radio, and I'm using it for the first time on the podcast. The next one is coming out. And I really like it. And it somehow, I'm not sure, is it a limiter? Is it a compressor? Is it a combination of the two?
Actually, there's nothing non-linear happening. It has a very clever detector of real-time detector of the audio
Okay.
levels, and then in the background, are you at all familiar with the vocal rights? What in the music world says? So
Yes.
basically, a human
Yes.
moves the fader up and down in order
Yes.
for this. So we wanted to create something natural, and the more natural thing that you can do is linear processing, like a fader going up and down. So what is going is there's a very clever detector that identifies problems in levels of the audio, and then we turn the audio in a smooth way up and down. That way we can be sure that we will not distort the voice instead of just improving the overall balance.
Well, that is amazing because I wasn't sure how you were doing it, but I could tell it's different than a compressor and a limiter, which is typically what I use. Now, Waves has a vocal rider that does that, right? Waves plugins?
Yes.
They actually have a plugin that does exactly what you're talking about. I had no idea that you guys are doing the same thing, but you're doing it simpler.
Yeah, the thing we're doing, so we are focusing a lot in spoken voice.
Okay.
They've mainly tuned their plugins for singing voice, and it's a big difference between the two because
Okay.
spoken voice,
Good point.
yeah, the utterances, are smaller and very fast, and you need different types of processor. Then we have a very important part of this plugin that you should definitely use in your podcast is the breath control. So this was a feature request, and we have a detector of breaths so that we don't actually increase because a blind plugin just takes breaths and
Sure.
increase their level,
Sure.
which will end up being very unnatural.
Right.
So if you have someone who speaks relatively close to the microphone, then you have to enable the breath control. And then we have another control, which is again an on-off button that actually improves the tonal balance when someone is moving, up close and far away from the microphone in a very subtle way, but that definitely improves intelligibility if you have a music background. So what we have a detector that understands that the frequency range changes when someone speaks, and then if this is detected, automatically the algorithm adds some high frequencies that will make the voice stand out of the music, and therefore it can be helpful for people like me who move a lot when we
Sure. No, I know exactly what you mean. A trained vocalist in a studio will know to go closer to the mic, further away from the mic, depending on whether they're louder or not. But somebody who's just doing maybe doing a voiceover doesn't really realize that. So that's interesting. I didn't know that's the way that plugin was working, but I was very pleased with the sonic quality that I've achieved with that without compression artifacts or limiting artifacts.
Yeah.
So that's a yeah. So
Thanks for saying the point.
Yeah, well, that's one of the ones I've been using a lot. I've also been using the noise plugin, which if you have any noise, you want to put that on before the leveler to reduce
Exactly.
We'll explain why that would be the chain that you would use for those two.
So it's very important when you use the leveler to eliminate, I would say, completely the noise. And the reason is that you don't want the leveler to take the noise and create noise bursts, because the leveler plugin doesn't have a denoise engine inside. It does leveling. So it assumes that there's a clean voice in the track. And of course, it can detect breaths, it can detect all these, tonal imbalances that we said, but it cannot detect noise. There's a special plugin, the denoiser, for this. So you can remove the noise. You can almost completely remove it with our noise remover plugin. And then you should use a voice leveler to be sure that you will not unnaturally increase the level of noise.
Exactly. So that makes complete sense. So now you have do you have a standard version of these plugins and you have a pro version? What's the difference between the standard and the pro?
Right now we have the pro version of the de-esser. So we have the de-esser Pro.
Okay.
Basically, again, we are trying to follow the same principle, something that has that gives to the user more control, but again, it allows the user to do the work very fast. So there are different ranges that you can, frequency ranges that you can tune the spectral de-esser that we have, and it doesn't happen automatically as with a single knob.
Okay.
Therefore, an experienced professional can use this to go deeper into the sound. And then we have our ERA D, which is a joint denoise and dereverberation tool. This is a quite sophisticated tool. The main difference from everything else out there is that, in nature, noise and reverb happen together. So you're in a room, there's an air conditioning playing.
Right, sure.
And then the microphone captures the air condition, but also the ambience of the air condition. If you have two separate plugins, you can either work with the one or the other. But this ERA D has an engine that knows that these things happen in nature and has models inside that can actually compensate for the counter interaction of noise and reverb. And this is the main difference. It's a sophisticated tool. It has a lot of controls. This is definitely not a tool that allows people to be fast, but rather a tool that allows people to do surgical things when they have big noise and reverb problems.
Sure.
You have to pick the right tool for the right situation.
No, absolutely. But I use the leveler on everything, the voice leveler. Any of my audio that I'm talking, anybody's talking, I use it automatically. I've created a channel strip in Logic. You can create a channel strip with certain plugins, and I just put that in automatically.
Yeah, I'm really glad to hear that, because that was exactly the purpose of releasing the leveler, saving time from a lot of people. I have a close friend that works internationally in theater shows, so they get all these different voiceovers from actors, and they have to actually blend them and do something new. So he was saying to me that he saves a ton of time just because the leveler balances out the uneven levels of different actors so fast. And he could do that himself, but it would take like a whole day. And
absolutely. Yes.
Turn up and do it.
Absolutely. So that's that. I'm really glad you explained. I'm glad I asked the question about the leveler, because I wasn't sure exactly what it was doing, but now I know exactly what you're talking about. When you're mixing when I'm mixing a band, you're always riding the faders, like you said, but you have this thing called fader creep when things start getting louder and louder, and you got to keep pulling them down. And whoever's with you, if the drummer's in the back, he wants the drums louder. If the bass player's in the back, he wants the bass louder. The guitar player wants the guitar louder. The vocal wants. It drives you nuts. So you're always physically working with faders, and they creep up louder and louder. So you got to keep pulling them down. But I know riding the vocal, I've done that many times manually in the past. Absolutely. Yeah. So that makes that plugin different than other plugins. I mean that I've seen. That it's not a limiter. It's not a compressor.
Yeah, I think it's a lot more natural, at least to my ears. I mean, compressor is great. It's a great tool. It can be used creatively. It can be used, even to improve sound. But this non-linear processing of a compressor sometimes sounds unnatural, like a boxy sound, or something not radio friendly. And especially if you mix it with music, then it becomes kind of robotic also.
Yes, so, it can.
Yeah, it can. Of course, you can use it, moderately, but actually changing the level is always more natural, especially if in the background it's done in a smooth way, not very abrupt changes.
Right. So, in order to do that, the plugin must pre-listen. Is that what it's doing to anticipate the change?
So it's there are two. It has a small buffer. It's very, very small, so that you
Okay.
don't realize that it inserts. And also it predicts what will happen next because of the models of the voice. Because
Okay.
it keeps history of what happened in the past and more or less expects. So it's both worlds. It has
Right.
both predictor and both history. It a buffer.
Right. So let's talk about the declipper a little bit. I know that I've used declippers in the past, and boy, they have saved some audio that was completely ruined by an overloaded preamp or an overloaded microphone that actually has harsh digital clipping. So the declipper is not for things that like the leveler is. This is for actual digital distortion. So explain how that's working there. You're actually rewriting some of the audio file, the distorted part, or how does that work?
Yeah, on a technical level, I mean, we are again focusing on voice samples. This is what we wanted to do with this declipper, and this is why we were able to release the first fully automatic declipper. So the declipper doesn't even have a knob; it's just an on-off button. You can choose mode A or mode B, but other than that, and generally mode B is better if you have MP3 or compressed files, where mode A is better if you have audio files, as raw audio files like WAV files or AIF files.
Sure.
But so from a technical perspective, what is happening is, again, it detects the peaks that have happened, the clipping that has happened, and then it tries to paint. I mean, I'm going to use again a paradigm like from another thing. It tries to paint the waveform as it should be. So it's a combination detection and then repair by repainting the audio waveform. It's a kind of simplistic way to put it, but it's very. I think it's quite accurate.
Well, I understand. In Logic, we have a pen tool, and we can actually redraw a waveform itself, just like you're talking about. But we can't do the whole. It'd take forever to do an audio file. This is just go in surgically and just redraw an actual like one clip or something, not the whole file. So that's also an amazing. The declipper, that's something that I've used with audio I thought I couldn't save in the past. One of the tricks that I've learned, if the audio is severely clipped, is to do it in 2 passes or even 3 passes. Not do it all on the first pass. Do a little bit at a time, and sometimes that'll save the audio file.
Yeah. Sometimes the same technique can be applied even for the denoiser or the de-reverberation.
Okay.
It's on a case-by-case basis, and sometimes, of course, as we said before, if the distortion is very, very severe, like some people want to save things that they've recorded, on a concert with their iPhones. Right. This is completely ruined. I mean, it doesn't, because basically, imagine that there's a auto-generative algorithm inside the declipper that generates audio where the audio is basically completely destroyed. So if everything is completely destroyed, then you're asking from a plugin to completely generate from scratch all the audio and not just imagine what happens in the small portions.
Right.
So it's great for voiceovers and artists that have clipped and you don't want to record the dialogue again. It's great for instruments that have clipped and don't want to, but generally it's not good for amateur recordings where someone is, using the telephone to record the concert and everything is ruined from the beginning.
Exactly. As good as the iPhones are, they're still not as good as a quality camera in audio and stuff as well. So do you ever go to did you were at NAB this year?
We skipped the NAB this year because I had to be elsewhere, but we're going to be in the NAB next year.
Okay.
We are also in the IBC.
Okay.
And generally, we are doing quite a lot of shows, both in the music and the video space.
Okay. But this ERA bundle seems to be dedicated more to vocals, not to music.
That's correct. This is our main focus. A lot of people are using, especially we think that we have one of the best reverb removers in the market, and we know that a lot of musicians are using them because they want to bring their instruments into focus, especially when they have recorded them in a very bad space.
Right.
But we tune, and basically we want to help people that record voice, either their voice or the voice of an actor or an interview or a marketing video, a podcast, things, shows or content where someone actually tells a story.
Right. Storytelling, that's a big deal. So
Yeah.
one of the things, I've been podcasting for a long time. I've been podcasting for almost 14 years. And they were popular at the beginning, and then they went down, and now they're coming back big time all of a sudden. There's just gigantic amount of interest in podcasting. So this will be very, very useful for those. And like, your special that you have, well, first off, you have a free trial. So you have a 14-day free trial. Anybody that's not sure, they can download the free trial from your website. I'm going to pull it up here right now.
Mm-hmm.
So this,
And
here.
the trial is fully functional. So basically, there are 14 days where someone can actually test with their own material. This was essential to us because we wanted to allow people to see how these things work in their own audio, so that they are sure buying. That said, we're also on top of the 14-day trial, we give a 14-day back guarantee, so that we are sure that everyone who buys the plugins is very happy with them, and this is why we're doing it.
That's excellent. That's excellent. I mean, I always appreciate if I'm not sure about a plugin, but the thing about this sale price, it's $119. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer. It's like you getting 5 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plugins right now for $119. And that's till the end of July. Is that how long that lasts?
Yeah, and then the price will be again a no-brainer because it's gonna go to $149. So again, it's nothing really. It's very important for us to give these tools to people that actually don't have audio as their main issue, so they have to buy a camera, they have to buy an MP, they have to be on a subscription possibly, and then we want to give them the means to do great audio. We hope that we are going to sell a lot of licenses so that this is going to keep us working and improving the plugins. And at the same time, we have the Pro version, the Era Bundle Pro, that is a little bit more expensive and can be actually used by professional studios and production studios. People that, money is not their first priority. They want the more tools, the better.
Absolutely. Well, I'm really glad I found these. I mean, I'm really glad because, I've been doing audio for a long time and I have a lot of plugins, and some I like better than others. I'm really a big fan of these. That they're really quality plugins.
Thanks. We've put a lot of work on them, and we're very happy when people find them useful.
Yes.
It's the best reward for the team here when we see people actually using them in real world scenarios and telling us about their experiences and how this plugins works. And of course, we are very open to any feedback from our users so that we can improve. Because it's you can always improve no matter how good the plugins are. And this is the principle here. We want to hear different. There might be applications that we've never thought about, and this has happened a lot in the past. And then people are talking to us about them. And then we can serve their needs in the next version.
So I have one question. So there's a difference between reverb and echo, right? But I don't see that you have an echo remover.
So, echo. I mean, let's unpack this. What
Okay.
is the difference? Because people mean different things with this word. So, what do you mean?
Well, an echo to me is a distinct repeat of something, not just a room reverb, which is more, it's shorter time spans and it's more, nebulous. An echo would be like, 1 instance, 2 instance, 3 instance, 4 instance, 5 instance.
Yeah.
To me, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I'm thinking exactly the same. I think that this is also kind of the scientific way of putting things, although some people sometimes refer to reverb as echo just because it's easier to do probably. We don't have a special tool for echo removal just because we think that there are not a lot of applications where the kind of users that we are targeting have this type of problem. While everyone has this problem of, either they record far away from the microphone and the room becomes an issue, or they are in a very bad room and they want to bring the sound to the front a little bit. In a way, again, if we want to get a little bit geeky, what this reverb remover does is that by removing, so when I speak to the microphone and I'm like far away from the microphone, the room has an important role in what you hear because the voice is lower. When I put reverberation, the equivalent would be for me putting the speaker closer to the microphone, and this brings the sound to the front, and this helps the users that we want to help. While echo wouldn't be our first priority as a next tool because there are some applications, of course, but they're not those. They're not that usual.
Exactly. I was curious about that. So your plugins are processing audio, I think, differently than some other plugins that are available. You said something about IA. You're using IA for some of that?
So we were one of the first. Yeah, AI. We were one of the first companies that used artificial intelligence algorithms in the music software business. It was 2014. I can tell you it wasn't fun because back in the day, AI wasn't a hype. So everyone was complaining, this is too slow, and the computers were slower.
Sure.
And I can admit that back in the day, the user experience wasn't optimal because the computer cores couldn't support it.
Right.
But this gave us a a lot of feedback from the users, a lot of experience in this type of algorithms. Then we were also happy because, after 2016, this thing became a hype and everyone was looking at us, and this helped a lot the company, to be honest with you. But this also was, that we have this expertise in a commercial, in actual commercial applications. And this helps us a lot taking complex technologies and packing them in a very intuitive UI. So this is a very key thing for us. And we don't use just this technology. It's not just AI. It's also, we have expertise in the field. We work with video editors, we listen to our customers, we know audio, we know room acoustics, we know psychoacoustics. So we have different expertise, and AI is one of them, but it's definitely an important thing.
Yeah, it is, because it seems to be very effective. I mean, it makes your plugin stand out.
Yeah. Actually, we don't do AI for the AI, but we use it when it's actually helpful for the user. Because at the end, nothing, even, you have a professional or someone who wants to make content, a content creator, and they will decide what's the best setting for them, even if it's one knob. And the AI will just help them get the result they want. So it's I think we are getting to a mature level where all these different technologies can work together in order to help our users.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So everybody can go to Accusonus.com. That's ACCUSONUS.com. And I'm going to pull the website up here again. The sale price until the end of July is $119 for 6 plugins, which is a great, great introductory price. It really is.
Yeah.
And you guys will take suggestions if people have suggestions. I guess it's on your website somewhere, or let me see. There's support.
Yeah, you can actually contact our support directly from the website. You can contact support from within the plugin, and you can contact support just by sending us an email at support@accusonus.com. So
Well, there you go.
we are very happy. We respond to all of these, and any feedback from our users, we consider it very precious.
Absolutely. That's a good way to be, because especially with social media, people have a tendency to jump on and complain in an instant. Everybody complains about everything.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean it's a good thing because it helps us. It makes us improve ourselves faster.
Right.
And then I have an academic background, and I worked for years as a researcher in the audio world. And that back in the day, I didn't have this direct connection with the users. And now I feel that the only way to actually improve the technology is to talk to the users all the time. So I think that this is a big advantage for the companies nowadays, that we have this direct connection with the users, and
Sure.
it helps us at the end. I mean, a lot of people are complaining about this, but I see this as a huge opportunity for us to improve. Because
Yes.
the users will tell you the truth about the products. Whatever you do in the lab is just, like your own cage where you think some things, but it's not the real world. The users bring you back to the real world.
Yes, I agree with you. So I was looking, I couldn't find you guys on Twitter. Are you on Twitter yet?
Yes, we are. At Accusonus.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'll have to, I was trying to tag you in a post. I'll tag you in another post. So that's good. That's good. Do you get a lot of feedback from Twitter, from your users, or?
We haven't developed our Twitter channel that much. We
Okay.
were just because when we started the company, we didn't have enough people to work in all social media channels. So we were back in the day. We focused on Facebook. So Facebook is a lot more developed. We plan to hire someone to work on Twitter because it takes time. And when we started, we were a small startup. And we didn't have enough people. The problem with all these different channels is that you have to have people monitoring them.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
Twitter especially is real time. So if you are there, you have to be there. We try to reply every day to the tweets and be active, but we haven't developed the channel that much. Facebook is more developed.
Okay. So people can find you on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
That's great.
And Twitter, we reply with, we have internally, we reply to our support. We try to be there for our users in less than 2 business days.
Right.
Usually it's a business day or less. And the same applies for Facebook and Twitter. We do our best to serve, the needs of our users as the company grows.
Excellent. Is there anything else we want to talk about before we end this? This has been very, very good. We're at 53 minutes right now, 54 minutes.
No, I think the only thing that I would like to repeat is for people to take a bit of time and download the trial and test the plugins in their own material, in their own audio. And if they're happy, I think that they're at a very reasonable price. And if they're not happy, they should definitely give us a bit of feedback so we can improve the products next time.
Excellent. Very good, Alex. I sure appreciate you coming on Final Cut Pro Radio TV Live. And I use your plugins. I definitely recommend your plugins. And I'll talk to you again. Thank you.
Thanks, Richard. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.